Vikings now riding a 7-game winning streak, beating the Chicago Bears in the winter whiteout game at US Bank Stadium by a final score 30-12. The Vikings, they move to 12-2, with this video being brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. Coming into this game, the Vikings, they understood the assignment. The Bills last night, they beat the Detroit Lions. And with the Bills beating the Lions, the Vikings, they control their own destiny. You win out and you win the NFC North division and likely the 1 seed in the NFC, which means that you get a first round bye and the NFC playoffs goes through US Bank Stadium. They understood what was going down. And normally in years past, with a yellow brick road being so wide open, where all you got to do if you're the Vikings is walk down that yellow brick road and you will have success. In years past, they would find a way to F it all up. And I keep saying all season long, this is a new era of Vikings football. The past is the past. The present is now. And now this is a tough-ass football team. And they didn't screw up whatsoever. They got the job done, beating the Bears tonight. And similar to the Atlanta game versus the Falcons last week, whereas the majority of that game, too close for comfort, that is until the end of the third quarter or towards the end of the third quarter. This game against Chicago, the Vikings, they score a touchdown towards the end of the third quarter, going up by 3 scores. That very next possession that they had in the fourth quarter, they go up 27-6 after scoring yet another touchdown. And the Bears, they scored a garbage time touchdown, but by then the game was essentially over, so whatever. But what I find most impressive about the 2024 Minnesota Vikings is the versatility in their wins. For every other team that's going to be in the playoffs, without even watching the games, you can pinpoint exactly how those teams got their wins. The Ravens, Lamar Jackson went off. The Bills, let me guess, Josh Allen had another MVP-like performance. The Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, and the refs. Or the Steelers, tough, gritty defense. Russell Wilson, he makes a couple of plays, don't make any mistakes. With the Vikings, it's impossible to figure out how they're going to get their wins on a game-in, game-out basis. They have gotten off to a hot start, and they've maintained leads for the entirety of games. They've played from behind. They have had their defense dominate where the offense is lacking. Last week against the Falcons, where the defense was kind of struggling, but the offense took off. And this game, you had the defense go off again. Almost in the traditional sense, I guess, how they've gotten the majority of their games or their wins, that this is how you are going to win in the playoffs. All these finesse teams and sexy style of play in the playoffs where you're going to face an equally good team where, you know what, that defense you're going to face, you're going to get some stops that you're not used to seeing. How do you adjust? The Vikings, they have been in a series of adjustments all season long. This is going to prepare them for the playoffs. The defense went off tonight. Their offensive line, the offense struggled today. Sam Darnold certainly wasn't the passing surgeon that he has been the last couple of weeks. But the offensive line, Cam Robinson struggled. I lost count on the amount of penalties that he racked up. I believe he got 4, but it could be more. I know he got at least 4. He gave up pressure as well. Blake Brandel, he struggled. Garrett Bradbury was Garrett Bradbury. Dalton Reisner, I thought was okay. And Brian O'Neill, he went down, or he had to exit the game twice, but he came back into the game both times after being seen. So we'll have to keep a lookout on, I guess, his status moving forward. But him coming back in the game twice is a great sign. And Sam had his oh no moments where he was just sailing passes, couldn't get comfortable, even when he had good protection and had his feet set. he just wasn't accurate on his throws. He was just not that pinpoint quarterback that we've seen the last couple of games. But the defense, man, 2 sacks. You had a chance for more if you had closed out AVG, for example. 2 sacks, 2 turnover on downs, and 3 punts. Jonathan Grenard, he had that huge sack fumble. But just the fact that no matter what it takes, even as stressful as it is at times, to where you may sit there and say, oh boy, here comes the Vikings. Classic Vikings football. Here we go. They're going to find a way to F this up. Instead, they do the opposite. They find ways to win football games. BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. New customers get a 150% bonus on your first deposit and a 125% bonus on your next 2 deposits up to $2,000. Promo code YouTube150. And I want to give a shout out. I want to make sure that I give a shout out to Bears cornerback Tyreek Stevenson. Tyreek, bro, what are you doing, man? When are you going to realize that taunting the opposing fan base while being a visiting team, being a visiting player yourself, is not going to go well for you? This is the same guy that was taunting Commanders fans while the Commanders were going off for a Hail Mary play for a walk-off victory, which turned out to be a walk-off defeat for you and your Chicago Bears. Your team hasn't won a game since October. And getting an interception, good for you, down 10-0, you mock the skull chant at US Bank Stadium? Dude, what are you doing? And I want to say the only time that mocking the skull chant has gone well for an opposing team is the Philadelphia Eagles in 2017. But outside of that, you mock the skull chant, it never goes well for you. And it's only fitting that after mocking the skull chant, down 20-6, you commit a defensive pass interference in the end zone, setting the Vikings up 1st and goal at the 1. And what happens? Cam Akers, he runs that ish in for a touchdown for the Vikings to go up 27-6. And if it wasn't embarrassing, the ending of the Commanders game, Deja Vu runs its course on repeat, and you do the same thing all over again. If anyone deserves this shame, it is you, Tyreek Stevenson, in another losing fashion. But the Vikings, they can absolutely sweep the rest of the season and finish 15-2. Man, the light at the end of the tunnel is right there. We're going to get to the double R plays of the game, and we're going to start with Jonathan Grenard goes beast mode and gets his hand, smacks down Caleb Williams' arm as he's about to throw, and that sends the ball behind Williams before his arm goes forward. That's a sack fumble recovered by the beast that is Blake Cashman. That is the perfect pairing for a big-time play. Jonathan Grenard and Blake Cashman. Vikings, they get the ball back. Play number 2, Justin Jefferson, 1st and goal at Chicago 7. Sam Darnold finds Jets just dragging in the back of the end zone, wide open. There's a safety back there, but he's 2-3 steps behind 18 for the easy score. The Vikings, they go up 10-0. And play number 3, this isn't an actual play in the game, but I wanted to point this out during the broadcast. They showed Ryan Poles, who was looking pretty dapper, nice outfit, good for you. But I just can't help but go back and think to his intro press conference where he said, we're going to take the NFC North and never give it back. Well, that still shot, or not even a still shot, the footage they showed of Ryan Poles in that game showed him looking flabbergasted. Like, I can't believe this has happened. I thought we were going to take it and never give it back. Instead, you never had a chance at taking it in the first place. The Vikings, they're 12-2, 3 games left to go in the regular season. I'm going to predict that they win out. They go 15-2, and they get the number 1 seed. They win the NFC North division, And this is going to be another one of those seasons where we look back and say, all right, that was a good time. Whatever happens, whatever the conclusion is, we'll see. But they're in a good spot. They can absolutely be contenders. And I want to give a shout out to KOC. There were, at least to start this season, you saw multiple instances of Kevin O'Connell calling plays that didn't best represent the situation of the game. Really putting his team behind the 8 ball. But the last couple of games, it's come down to, instead of multiple goofy plays per game, it's really just one play, if that, per game. I said either he needs to get better in situational play calling or give it to someone else, and he has gotten better without a doubt in situational play calling. Thanks to the folks at BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. We'll see you next time.